can stand it.
Yeah.
I can stand it if I like.
You're live on Facebook right now.
I've got you too.
Me too.
Me too.
What's going on, gang? I'm sure you've heard the word all over the internet right now. So recently, 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska was senselessly stabbed to death on the light rail in Charlotte, North Carolina. And this particular incident, just the graphicness of the video, and really also that combined with the MSM's response to the situation, which has been abysmal, has really put a spotlight on race relations as they pertain to crime in this country and certain double standards, which many of the American people know to be true, but then won't be acknowledged by liberals or the American left. And for me, this is disturbing because not only did this young woman who had, I'm looking, I'm only like 2 years older than she is. I was shocked. I saw that picture. I thought she was older than I was. Not only did she senselessly lose her life, and, you know, I feel like I have a lot of life ahead of me, and I'm only like 2 years older than she was. So she definitely had a lot of life ahead of her. Not only did she senselessly lose her life, but then also you had this DEI judge release the guy who did this to her, which is just unbelievable. I mean, yet another example of anarcho-tyranny, as I've mentioned before, and just disgusting favoritism, just the excuses that have been made for this man.
I think it's a complete tragedy, but it is an example of how we need to get more mental health services to folks who are unhoused.
Literally a woman talking about the situation. More mental health services for the unhoused. Not justice, not safety for your average person, not undoing the social erosion, the erosion of the social fabric that has gone on for the last 20 years or more, but more mental health services for the unhoused. They're called homeless, by the way. They're homeless people. They're not unhoused, they're homeless.
The brutal murder of Iryna Zarutska, a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee on a Charlotte light rail train, has sparked widespread outrage. DeCarlos Brown Jr., a career criminal with 14 prior arrests, allegedly stabbed Zarutska to death in an unprovoked attack. Released by Judge Teresa Stokes on a written promise to appear in court, Brown was free to commit this horrific crime. Elon Musk and others have called out the mainstream media's near silence on this tragedy, amplifying public's anger over a preventable loss. I was actually just chatting with my friend Gary Carlo, retired NYPD detective with decades of experience, and we were talking about this very issue of priors, so I might get a quote from him later. What do you guys think? Comment below.
This is so insane. This guy has 14 prior arrests. What on earth could be the logic behind why he's getting released again? It makes literally zero sense. He shouldn't be out there, especially, and the video is so clear too. It's so brutal. You can see the way he swings his arm, how totally unsuspecting, vulnerable, and exposed she looks. And it's just, there's no way to rationalize it.
It's 9:46 p.m. You'll notice right away, this looks like any other ride aboard the light rail. People are doing what they do these days, keeping to themselves, scrolling on their phones as they ride along. The man accused in the killing, DeCarlos Brown, is in the red hoodies on the right side of your screen. He appears to be maybe a little emotional, perhaps a little agitated, but nothing disruptive. There's nothing that gets anyone's attention. About 30 seconds later, Iryna Zarutska boards. She's wearing a hat and a t-shirt from a pizzeria, and she sits in the row in front of Brown. She has earbuds in and is looking at her phone. She too's just minding her own business. They ride along for around 4 minutes with nothing unusual happening. Then around 9:50 p.m., Brown reaches into a pocket. We've zoomed in on it here. He pulls out a pocket knife, No one notices a thing. Seconds later, he would stand up, and from behind, unprovoked, as we stopped the video, he would stab the young woman several times. She had no chance to defend herself. The attack was over in seconds, and when it was over, Brown walked through the train attempting to get off. Few passengers, if any, at first realized what had happened, until they noticed drops of blood on the floor. 90 seconds after the attack, a bystander rushes down to begin lending aid to Zarutska. She would die from her injuries. 30 seconds later, 9:52 p.m., 6 minutes into the video, Brown leaves the light rail.
The video here shows us just how quickly things happened and how difficult it would have been to prevent once he got on the train. And that is an important part to all of this. From what we've been told, Brown never should have been on the train. Authorities tell WBTV he did not buy a ticket. CAT says it is working on ways to keep fare skippers off mass transit.
And to top it off, to make it all worse, not only has there been a complete or near complete media blackout on this incident, there has also been an attempt to delete the Wikipedia page, apparently. Someone on Wikipedia nominated this page for deletion. Why? Because it's non-optical. And I mean, it hasn't even been the first year of the Trump presidency, and we're seeing so many liberal narratives just collapse, one after the other, falling like dominoes. And, the whole Netflix video at the beginning of this one, the Netflix clip, Netflix versus reality, really goes to showcase how, there is a narrative promoted by power of white men as dangerous predators, as threats. What happens when reality doesn't necessarily conform to that? When people are confronted with 300 images like the one you're seeing on screen right now? That's going to change some minds. But anyway, there are some people who are saying that apparently Iryna supported BLM because of this image right here. She's just in a dorm with a pro BLM poster. I haven't seen any concrete proof that she's actually in her own room or that she set up that specific poster herself, because you know how college dorms are. There's usually at least 2 beds to a room, so it could be her roommate that set it up. Who knows? But it is noteworthy. What's relevant here is the fact that, of course, the BLM movement has been silent about this happening. Why? Because it's inconvenient for them. And you know who else has been silent? A lot of people with Ukraine flags in their bios. And the reason for this is, for the most part, the only people who support the Ukraine are neoliberal globalists, Slavic people who have grievances against Russia for whatever historical reason, terminally online wignats who have been psyoped into believing that supporting Ukraine is the right thing to do by neoliberal globalists, of course. I mean, but you can just totally see how the establishment doesn't care at all, how their compassion is so selective, how their support is so selective. This woman's life did not matter to them at all. This is an eye-opening nightmare scenario for so many reasons. Like, no one should be in fear of being murdered randomly by an insane homeless person whenever they're on the train. That should not be. Everyone wants to live in a country where that's not like the first thought that's going through your head is, if I get on public transport, will I be murdered by an insane homeless person? Yeah. No one wants to live with that or think about that. We don't want this kind of country. And it's so worrying that we have this competency crisis among people who are in positions of authority in our country. Like this DEI judge that released this guy for God knows what. I'm sure you can guess the reason, but God knows what reason. People were drawing comparisons to George Floyd. because of the MSM outcry regarding that situation versus the total blackout that we see regarding this situation. And I think these comparisons are very apt. And, you know, from my own perspective, just seeing this situation and how people have reacted to it, it should serve as a reminder to Black America that time is short. Do for self or suffer the consequences. White people will not tolerate this sort of dysfunction forever. And the Black community can't play this game of working with liberal white intellectuals to blame the rest of white society for the crime and dysfunction that currently racks the Black community. Like, this man, you can't say, oh, well, socioeconomic factors caused this guy to stab this woman like this. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. There aren't excuses. And time is running out. And God's judgment will be upon Black America if Black America doesn't get its act together. This is what we're going to see. There'll just be more instances like this coming out and coming out and coming out. And eventually white people will have enough. And they'll be like, you know what? We've got to get harsher. We've got to do something. You know, they don't want stuff like this randomly happening on their public transport systems. But unfortunately, I don't think this realization will come in time for anyone, for the Black community as a whole, or for the countless Iryna Zarutskas that are out there right now who will be affected by this. Like, the Black community's problems are not confined to Black on Black crime. Other communities are affected by it. We all live in America together. You know, all communities interact with all other communities to one degree or another. And I don't think this realization will come soon enough because, unfortunately, it seems to me that for the time being, Black American political consciousness is dominated by women like this affirmative action DEI judge who would rather just let this guy back onto the streets to do this again than actually take any kind of accountability or just like a general sense of like civic duty, just keeping other people safe. You know, like we don't even necessarily have to racialize. If he's capable of stabbing Iryna Zarutska like this, like, who's to say he wouldn't just stab another Black person like this? You know, like, it doesn't even, this guy's a danger to all of society, but she's just releasing him anyways because, oh man, you know, he's Black, and I guess it wouldn't be optical to actually put him behind bars for this. It's just shameful. It's so shameful. But anyway, the other point of this video is that instances like this show that there is a ceiling to Black fatigue, which it seems the country is rapidly approaching. And I'm no fan of the philosopher Ayn Rand, but there is that one quote of hers which comes to mind, which reads, "You can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality." And for the moment, the left-wing strategy of doubling down and ignoring the consequences of their actions is not working out. The facade has cracked. People are seeing through what's going on in unprecedented ways. And, we can only wonder at what one of these incidents will finally be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and what form breaking the camel's back really takes on a societal level. We can only speculate. But as usual, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Consider subbing to me on Patreon if you want to monetarily support this channel. And Red Channels will, of course, catch you in the next one.